Welcome back, everyone. I'm Jason, and you're watching Jason Jensen Trains. In the last 3 episodes, we have been working on Red Hook Wharf. In this episode, we're going to travel into the future and build Red Hook on our sci-fi layout. Let's get to it. So here is the start of Red Hook. Now the Red Hook Corporation has gone from dealing in fish oil to, in the future, dealing with servicing and repairing robots. Now their specialty is dealing with Zoids. Zoids in the future are very large robots used for battle, but also used for aiding humans in constructing things and also moving things. So the Red Hook Corporation now services and repairs mostly Zoids. Now we have an elevator that will eventually get put right here. So most of the service work is done down here. We have a train that runs up here that can drop supplies off. And then we have a train down here for moving larger things in Red Hook. All right, well, we have a lot to do, so let's get started on it. So I just glued 2 pieces of foam core together with liquid nails. This will put the model a little bit higher than the track that runs right in front of it. So I think I got this at Home Depot. And you can see you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces. And it's 3/4 of an inch thick. Okay, let's make our sides first out of this, and then we'll make a top. Okay, let's get our ends glued on. Okay, I've cut some supports for our rooftop. So let's get those glued in quick. And this is just liquid nails. Okay, now I've cut a piece for our roof. We want to be careful. I better put the glue on here. Well, I cut those supports too high. Darn it. I've got glue on everything. Well, this will be tricky. I don't know if I should cut new ones. Okay, let's see if this works. Now I've got some straight pins. Now we're going to glue on a top piece for the door, just to give it some interest. We have to cut out for that piece that we just added. Now we got to put these on. maybe we'll just notch it right there so that those pieces go up flush against that. Now, this is not how this goes. I should have looked at my picture. I photographed it before I brought it in here. And it goes like this. So we have to notch that so that comes forward. And then we have to build side walls for this and put a top on it. And I'm kicking myself because there is a cylinder that goes right here. And so we need to cut a circle, and it would have been so much easier to do that before I had this glued in. Not a problem. We'll just take our long knife and cut a circle. So all of this styrofoam is from my big screen TV that's in that same room. I just saved all the cardboard that was around it. I turned the light off over there, so hopefully you can see this better. I think with that bright light on all this white, you might not have been able to see it good. Well, as you can see, I got into a big hurry and forgot this. Nice. Now, it does sit up a little higher, so I got to glue these in. Let me just do that quick. Now, I'll probably glue this in with liquid nails, but I'm not going to glue it in yet. Let's figure out our sides. We have side walls and then a top. The more I look at it, the more I want this wall brought forward. So, first what we have to do is make sure it's centered. Now we'll cut that out. Okay, the sides are cut. Now we'll get it glued in place. I'm going to take this out for now. I'll probably paint and weather this over at the bench and then put it in place. Now we can use some straight pins and put them in at an angle just to hold it in place. I'm taking my eraser and pushing those straight pins in so they're flush with the side. That way we can just paint right over them and they won't even show up. Okay, let's get the top glued on. Alright, we'll take some straight pins and stick them in there so that it stays. Alright, now we'll let all this dry. Okay, now I'm just trying to figure out some details to add to it. So the two blue things are electrical boxes. The square one is an electrical box that goes inside your wall for a light switch. And the round one I think is for maybe a ceiling light. And then we have a Parmesan cheese container upside down. I have a lot of caps. My friend Dale just saves caps from everything and anything. I have an entire bag full of caps. It's great. This is from a vacuum cleaner, and then the top here is also from a separate vacuum cleaner, and then the piece on top, I think it's maybe a bowl from Panda Express. All right, so next we need to start painting this, and then all of these details, I'll take them outside and spray a primer on them, and then I'll rust them up and dirty them, and we'll add those separate after all this is painted. So I'm going to take a picture on my phone, probably a bunch of pictures, so I know where all the detail parts go. Well, as you can see, I painted everything gray. All of the plastic was done with a gray primer. And then all of the styrofoam and the foam core was done with gray water-based acrylic paint. Now we start to put on all the colors and all the value. Next, we're going to start to paint this, and it's going to take a while. We're going to start by sponging on chalk paint called Cocoon. And we'll be using a grout sponge that I got at Home Depot. But the first thing we have to do is remove all of our plastic pieces. Okay, so the tan is all done, and yes, it took me a while to sponge all of that. Now we're going to put on red. Next, we're going to take our base color, the chalk paint Cocoon, and hit all of the edges. So I just finished dry brushing some gray up here to make it look like the concrete is showing through. Now I cut some screen and sprayed a reddish brown primer on it. This is going to be for the lettering. There's a big sign that's going to go on the front that'll say Red Hook Corporation. Hopefully that shows up. I can take the camera off and give you a closer look. So after looking at it for a while, I'm not liking the white on there. So I'm actually going to take a tan and paint over the white. Okay, I like this a lot better. Now we can start to add details. I have lots of wires that we're going to have hanging on this. We also need to add a door to the front here. And I have something special that we're going to use for that. And we also need to create some letters to put on here. So I finished the Red Hook sign. Very simple. This is on regular paper. And then I printed this onto a thick cardstock, and then rusted the letters on the paper and then cut it out and glued them on. Now I'm doing some weathering with powdered pigments from Ammo. And I have a light brown, a dark brown, and a rust color. And just scrubbing them on. Okay, so I took a hand sanitizer bottle. See, it still flips up. I spray painted it white and then masked it and spray painted the top gray. Then just did some streaking rust, and the little bumps are gems. It's Paper Studio, $4.99 for an entire sheet. It'll last forever. And so I just spray painted some of them gray and stuck them on here. I drilled some holes in the bottom because we're going to have some wires coming out of it. Now I'm going to use liquid nails and glue this to the side. Now what I did was I drilled a hole in the back of it and I put a nail in there, and you can see it still sticks out because it hits the other side. So we just need it there to hold it while the glue dries. Okay, let me grab another nail. We'll make a hole. Hopefully you can see that good. For the hose, you can use shoelaces, or I went to the fabric store and bought cording that they use for like hoodies. It's the pull string, and you can buy that by the yard. And then the little clips that hold it are metal U-rings. And they just stick right into the styrofoam. For those of you that don't know, this says Red Hook Corporation, and it's in the Star Wars alphabet. A lot of these little things are guns or little parts off of toy spaceships. For the door, I used corrugated craft paper, and I bought this on Amazon. And I actually used the red. And I first sprayed it with a gray primer. And then did a misting of a red primer. It's like a reddish brown. I think it turns out good. I think it looks like metal. And then, of course, if you want to do some dry brushing or go over it with a sponge, you could probably even do silver on it. So there's actually a lot more that you could probably do. You could take the pigments and put some pigments on it. So a lot of great possibilities with this. In the keypad next to the door is a 3D printed. And then just simply have a wire, or you could even use a thin straw coming down from it. And I'll quick grab the wire for you so you can see what I use. Hopefully this gives you an idea of the scale and just how big this thing is. All right, there it is in place. You know that is super lightweight, and that was so inexpensive to make. So really, I challenge you to start looking at items around the house before you throw them away, because you might be able to make a really cool diorama out of those things. You know, the great thing about doing sci-fi is that anything is possible. You look at it and it could be possible someday. So you don't have to get hung up on making it too realistic looking. All right, well, thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate it. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. All right, well, until next time, stay motivated and happy modeling, everyone.